A mother mouse and a baby mouse were walking along, when all of a sudden a cat attacked them. The mother mouse yelled, "Bark!" and the cat ran away. "See?" said the mother mouse to her baby. "Now do you see why it's important to learn a foreign language?" A little boy walks in on his mother and father having sex. His mother is on top of his father, bobbing up and down. The little boy asks, "What are you doing, Mommy?" The mother thinks quickly and replies, "Daddy is getting fat, so I thought I would try to flatten his tummy." The little boy says, "I don't know why you bother. The minute you leave for work, the maid comes in and blows it right back up again." As an ultimate test of his willpower, a man decided to give up sex for Lent. Although not thrilled with the idea, his wife agreed to support him in this effort. The first 3 weeks weren't too difficult, but things got tougher during the next couple of weeks. So, the wife wore her dowdiest nightclothes and chewed on garlic before going to bed. The last couple of weeks were extremely tough on the husband, so the wife took to locking the bedroom door and forcing the husband to sleep on the couch. Easter morning finally came, and a knock came on the wife's bedroom door. "Knock, knock," the husband says, "Guess who?" The wife answers, "I know who it is." The husband says again, "Guess what I want?" The wife says, "I know what you want." The husband answers, "Guess what I'm knocking with?" One day, a single mother was in the supermarket with her 4 children who were playing around. They were running around, grabbing items off the shelves, crying and screaming all over the place. Finally, the mother cornered them and said, "I should have swallowed all of you." So, a Russian man walks through the streets of Moscow. As he passes by the headquarters of a major company, he notices a poor man in decrepit clothes standing by the building, seemingly waiting for something, looking at the sky. Another poor, crazy weirdo, he thinks, and he keeps on walking. The next day, he passes near another company's HQ and sees the same poor man, seemingly waiting for something or someone, eyes up in the air. But this time, the poor man has a luxury watch and classy shoes. How strange! I thought he was homeless at first, he thinks, noticing the upgraded clothes. But he keeps walking. The following day, while walking near another company's HQ on his way home, he sees the homeless guy again, barely recognizable with a brand new suit and designer coat, waiting outside, looking at the sky. So, our hero finally goes and asks him, "Excuse my rudeness, sir, but I saw you 3 days ago and you were just a homeless man. Now you are dressed in super expensive clothes I'll never be able to afford in my lifetime. How did you pull that off in 3 days?" The homeless guy just tells him, "Oh, it's simple. You just wait outside those company buildings and oligarchs will fall from the windows." The rich and elegant old woman stopped to reverse her roles into the only free parking space. But as she was slowly backing in, a young girl in a nifty little sports car came up behind her and nipped into the parking space ahead of her. "You've got to be young and daring to do that," said the girl. The old woman ignored her and continued to reverse into the parking spot, pushing the sports car out of the parking space and down a slope, where it smashed into a wall and burst into flames. The old woman finished parking, then turned to the dumbfounded girl and said, "And you've got to be old and rich to do that." A country doctor went to a very remote area to deliver a baby. It was so far out there was no electricity. When the doctor arrived, no one was home except for the mother in labor and her 5-year-old child. The doctor instructed the child to hold a lantern high so he could see, while he helped the woman deliver the baby. The child did so. The mother pushed, and after a little while, the doctor lifted the newborn baby by the feet and spanked him on the bottom to get him to take his first breath. The doctor then asked the 5-year-old what he thought of the baby. Hit him again, the 5-year-old said. He shouldn't have crawled up there in the first place. A woman sought the advice of a sex therapist, confiding that she found it increasingly difficult to find a man who could satisfy her, and that it was very wearisome getting in and out of short-term relationships. "Isn't there some way to judge the size of a man's equipment from the outside?" she asked earnestly. "The only foolproof way is by the size of his feet," counseled the therapist. So the woman went into town and proceeded to cruise the streets until she came across a young man standing in an unemployment line with the biggest feet she had ever laid her eyes on. She took him out to dinner, wined and dined him, and then took him back to her apartment for an evening of wild sex. When the man woke up the next morning, the woman had already gone, but by the bedside table was $40 and a note that read, "With my compliments. Take this money and go out and buy a pair of shoes that fit you." A guy comes home completely drunk one night. He lurches through the door and is met by his scowling wife, who is most definitely not happy. "Where the heck have you been all night?" she demands. "At this new bar," he says. "The Golden Saloon. Everything there is golden. It's got huge golden doors, a golden floor, and even the urinal's gold." The wife still doesn't believe his story, and the next day checks the phone book, finding a place across town called the Golden Saloon. She calls up the place to check her husband's story. "Is this the Golden Saloon?" she asks when the bartender answers the phone. "Yes, it is," the bartender answers. "Do you have huge golden doors?" "Sure do," he replies. "Do you have golden floors?" the wife asks. "Most certainly do," he assures her. "What about golden urinals?" she queried skeptically. There's a long pause. Then the woman hears the bartender yelling, "Hey Duke, I think I got a lead on the guy that pissed in your saxophone last night." The other night, I was invited out for a night with the boys. I promised my wife that I would be home by midnight. Well, the hours passed and the beer was going down way too easy. At around 2:30 a.m., drunk as a skunk, I headed for home. Just as I got in the door, the cuckoo clock in the hall started up and cuckooed 3 times. Quickly, I realized she'd probably wake up, so I cuckooed another 9 times. I was really proud of myself for having a quick-witted solution, even when smashed, to escape a possible conflict. The next morning, my wife asked me what time I got in, and I told her 12 o'clock. She didn't seem disturbed at all. Phew, got away with that one. She then told me that we needed a new cuckoo clock. When I asked her why, she said, "Well, last night our clock cuckooed 3 times, then said, 'Oh shit,' cuckooed 4 more times, cleared its throat, cuckooed another 3 times, giggled, cuckooed twice more, and then farted."